acid or something?
No.
This is the Sports Porch, Philadelphia, with your hosts, the Grand Schwabini, Rube, and me, your technical director. Come on, Philly, show us a little Eagles, Flyers, Phillies, and Sixers love. The Philadelphia Sports Porch starts now.
Yes, here you go. Here we are. This is the Philadelphia Sports Porch coming to you live. That's right. It is Monday night. It is Eastern time. It is 6 p.m. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. And of course, we're a podcast. I'm going to drop that podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or anywhere you get
your
friggin'
podcast.
There you go. Perfect timing, Schwaber. And as you see, if you're watching live down on the ticker, follow us at Philadelphia Sports Porch on YouTube and at Philly Porch on X. We're going to talk all things Philadelphia sports tonight. Page one, we're going to talk about the Phillies. They a little bit of a losing streak going on here.
4 in a row. Not good.
We'll get into that. Page two, we're going to talk about the Eagles. There was a trade. Schwaber, you said Howie does it again.
Yes.
All right. I want to hear what you think about that. The Flyers did re-sign a star, somebody important. HJ said he would be important. Ends up he is. We'll do a little preview. We got a Stanley Cup final starting in 2 days, right? And the NBA finals.
Yep.
Which seemed to be kind of a snoozer to me.
They're honestly all a snoozer, but we'll get into that.
We'll get into that. And then a little bit of what we're watching. I'm your technical director. Across from me in the studio is the Grand Schwabini, the greatest Eagles, Flyers, Sixers, and Phillies fan I've ever met in my life. Second on that list is probably the guy below me, Rube, who is a lifelong Philly fan living in Texas. Look, Rube, if you were still living somewhere, anywhere within the boundaries of Pennsylvania, I would probably have you tied with the Grand Schwabini, but I mean, you picked Texas.
You do live in Texas.
Everything's big in Texas.
Texas picked me, Chris. Texas picked me.
It's a different world there in Texas. I mean, like everything's barbecue, red and white checkered, tablecloths.
Yep.
It's just a whole other world down there.
Is that true? Is that true, Rube? Is everything down there red and white checkered tablecloths?
Not everywhere, but you do have your fair share, and we do like our barbecue down here. So, that'd be like saying everywhere in Philadelphia is cheesesteaks and like
it kind of is.
Philly Pro Sports sheets on your bed.
But that's pretty true, actually. I mean,
there you go.
I just
Texas is a little confusing. I'll have the etouffee.
Yeah, right.
Like I don't
well,
really.
The etouffee is Louisiana, Schwabi.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Louisiana, Texas, they're all the same. They're these big states in the South.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Speaking of big states and areas,
everyone remember São Paulo in Brazil? That's a small city no one's ever heard of with 25 million people.
That small city with 20 million. That's right. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of Brazilians have heard of it.
Yeah. All right, we're going off the rails already here. Let's get to page one. Page one. This is a big one. The Phillies have slid into second place in the NL East. They're on a 4-game losing streak. They lost the last game to Atlanta and then got swept by the Brewers. Now, admittedly, the Brewers, they win their division most years. They're a decent team. I wouldn't put them in the upper echelon, but that's not necessarily a good sign. But there's a lot of things we're going to talk about here down in the ticker one at a time. So, you just run with it, Schwaber and Rube, go for it.
Yeah, well, the first thing, and I think this is more reflective of the rest of the team than Bryce Harper. But I think, obviously Bryce Harper got hit by a pitch. Good news, x-rays were negative, but it's still sore. They expect him to play on Tuesday night. But look, the bottom line is, when you take Bryce Harper's bat out of this lineup, it's not nearly as good. I mean, it's just really as simple as that. I mean, again, we're sort of in the same spot as last year where, when you get to 7, 8, 9, it's not great. 7, 8, 9 is, it's either like, Kepler or Rojas or Marsh or, basically a couple guys who, look, they're not bad. I mean, they're decent role players, but you don't want 3 role players at the bottom of your lineup when you're trying to win a World Series. So I think his absence has been huge. What do you think regarding Harper not playing these past couple of days?
Well, I was 6 afraid of 7, Schwabi.
Because 7 something with 8?
7, 8, because 7, 8, 9. Yeah. And I would agree.
Child riddle.
That's some sort of fancy Dell math. What
that is my way of saying, no bueno at the bottom of the order, and has been. It's been a little bit better. And Marsh's hit better since he's been back from injured reserve. But listen, not having Harper in your lineup is we don't pay him $300 and something gazillion dollars for him not to be in the lineup, and we need his bat. However, I'm a little when I look at them hitting against decent pitching, and we kind of talked about this before. Listen, we played 3 terrible teams and got out to a great record. We're coming back to earth, playing better teams, going against better pitching. But at the end of the day, I still am not terribly worried about their bats. Harper will be back, thank goodness. I am very concerned about the bullpen and what's going to happen there. So, what do we do? You gotta hit the ball while Harper's out, and other players are going to have to step up. If they're going to be a World Series team, other players have to step up. But at the end of the day, what really concerns me is the pitching and the bullpen.
Well, one interesting note on the bullpen. So the Phillies did make a couple moves. They took Taijuan Walker out of the rotation, brought Mick Abel back up after that great start. He also had a really good start in AAA. He's going back into the rotation, going to pitch Wednesday. And this is what I thought was actually a little bit more interesting. We've been used to when they put Taijuan in the bullpen, we're used to him sort of being the long guy. At least from what Topper said, I get the sense that they're going to do an experiment to see how he does with a high leverage 1 inning, like either you pitch the 7th, you pitch the 8th, or you pitch the 9th. That's what they said they're going to try with him. And I'm kind of interested to see how that works. If he's got a fastball going, and look, the thing about Taijuan Walker is he's very good the first time through the lineup, right? Does he have the mentality for it? I'm not sure, but maybe he does. I mean, since we put him in the bullpen, he's been pretty good. I'm willing to see what happens. By the way, also too, now I don't know this for fact. Okay. I don't know this for fact at all, but I did see a report come out where, the Phillies actually made like a hell of an offer for that, Mason Miller of the A's.
Even after we smoked them.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Apparently, like what I read was it was something like Crawford, Mick Abel. So those were like the 2 big prospects, and I can't remember the other 2, but they were fairly significant names. Like it was basically like 4 pretty good players offered for him, and apparently, at least for now, they're saying they don't want to trade him. They want him to be part of their future. But anyway,
so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well,
they did that with Houston Street. Remember, it's a similar situation.
Yeah. But I think the point is that it looks like Dombrowski is not waiting. He's looking. He's trying. He's just got to come up with the right scenario.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's any. There's right now. I don't hear alarm bells sounding. I mean, I understand, the bullpen, that some things need to be tinkered with.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you have a situation like the Phillies have, you don't necessarily want to tinker too much. A 4-game losing streak is not good, But at the same, and they did give up 17 runs in one of the games.
Yeah.
Which they should have won because they scored 7. But,
No.
you did also have the Mets on a 3-game winning streak coming in. I mean, that's kind of, that's not going to happen all the time. So.
Well, and the other thing too is, I mean, look, even though the Phillies have lost 4 in a row and they've fallen into second place, they're still 1.5 games out of having the best record in baseball. And let's also be honest here. Part of the reason why the Mets are 1 game better than the Phils or tied with the Phils is because, the playing of the competition flip-flopped. So, the Mets had 3 or 4 with the Rockies and they took them all.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, they're not doing anything different than we're doing, in terms of beating the teams that they're supposed to beat. But we should be doing.
I just make I sit here and I try to have an objective view, and you guys always call me Negadelphia, and I own that. However, when I look around the National League, outside of the Dodgers, who have been playing great ball, I don't know who else I really fear. I think you could have the same argument about just about every other team in the National League, minus LA. So, we got to figure it out. We need a couple arms in the bullpen. We've got to hit good pitching, and I think we'll be fine. But the fact of the matter is, and I disagree a little bit with UTD, I think you do have to tinker. If you look at our record since we went to London last year, the Phillies are under 500. They're not a good ball. They're not what you would consider a good ball club. So I'm okay tinkering, and I'm okay taking a risk while you have this window. And if we have to give up some prospects for it, so be it.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it's a bad thing if you give up a couple prospects to try to get a piece of your bullpen that's going to make a difference. So I'm not disagreeing with any effort there. What I'm saying is it's far from, and I think you would agree with me. It's far from time to push any sort of remotely close to a panic button or even a slight panic button.
Of course,
it's more like, I guess if you're going to tinker, you tinker. I mean, I'm looking at the standings right now, and you mentioned the Dodgers. I mean, they're plus 80 in run differential. They have the same record as the Phillies right now. Their runs against are 263. The Phillies are 259. So the inference there is that they have kind of the same problem that the Phillies have. Now, they've scored a lot more runs. They're a much heavier offensive team.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously
they're good one. Yeah, they're good 1 through 9.
Yeah, that obviously that's so. So maybe is that where you need to look? I mean, if you're, if
you have to do one or the other. You have to do one or the other, because if you're not
Right.
going to go fix the bullpen or address the bullpen,
right,
you better be able to score a lot of runs, and we're not doing either especially well against good
Now, what do you think about this, Rube? There's a little talk, and I don't know how realistic it is or not, but would you welcome back Rhys Hoskins and put his bad fielding at first base, get Harper back into the outfield, solve one of those outfield spots, and get Hoskins back in the lineup, a right-handed power bat?
Well,
personally, I would be for it.
As long as he's hitting against Phillies pitching. I don't know how he's doing otherwise, but he sure does have our number, doesn't he?
Well, his on base percentages number is tops on the Brewers at 367.
Well, he's hitting 285,
270. He's hitting 270.
Okay,
he's got 9 home runs, 35 RBIs. He's played in 56 games. He's having a decent year.
Yeah,
he's having a decent year.
Yeah, I mean, he's solid, but the bottom line is he's so much better than Rojas and Marsh, which is you're going to have Harper replace them and then put Hoskins at first base.
Yeah, well, it's not happening. So
I don't think Harper would play center field, though. Harper would play left. You still don't have a center fielder.
Well, you don't, but at the same time, you could figure something out. If you're going to have one position that's not great, that's okay. You know what I mean? You just can't have 2 or 3. And I think right now we probably have, 2 or 3. That's pretty much where we are.
Every time I want to curse at Rojas, he seems to go on a hitting streak, A, and B, he makes a great catch in the outfield. And you're like, maybe he will. Maybe he will come around.
Drop some F-bombs at the TV a little bit more often there. So Mick Abel was called back up. Walker's to the bullpen. We talked about that a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk for a minute about something that I just personally think was egregious on the Phillies' part.
Okay.
Now, Rube, I'm sure you're aware that one of these games, the game where what's his name? Luzardo was the starting pitcher. I can't understand how you leave a guy in to give up 12 runs. I mean, and here's the other part to it. Like in all honesty, like Luzardo was a name mentioned for the Cy Young this year, and you just basically with one outing completely took him out of it. I mean, I think it's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, now I understand their point of view. Their point of view is, well, we used a bunch of bullpen guys yesterday and we didn't want to use them today. And, he has to get deeper into the game because we've got bullpen issues and blah, blah, blah. But I don't think even with a guy who's one of your best, I don't think you want him losing confidence because you let him stay in to give up 12 runs. I mean, for crying out loud, like 6 is like tops for me. I think you take a guy out at 6 runs, like no matter what.
Yeah, you could. I mean, there was nobody they could put in there to just get him out.
Well, I think that's part of the problem, right? We keep talking about it. Who's your long reliever going to be, and are you going to destroy your other arms over one bad start?
Yeah,
listen, what's his name? Wheeler got shelled too by the Braves.
Well, what do you think about that? I think. Personally, I think there's no excuse for it. I think it's an absolute joke. Look, they used Weston Wilson, a position player, to pitch 2 innings. By the way, he pitched 2 scoreless innings, throwing 49 miles per hour. But seriously, like there's no excuse for it. I don't care. Like, you put Taiwan Walker in or something and you have him pitch 4 or 5 innings. And then the next game you call some kid up in case you need somebody for the next game. I just think it's ridiculous. I mean, if I was Luzardo, I'd just be like, Jesus, like I don't have it today. You really want me to keep throwing these meatballs up there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just thought it was really ridiculous. Let me put it this way. I've been watching baseball probably since I was like 7 years old, right? Which basically means I've been watching baseball for 48 years. I don't think I've ever seen a Philly allowed to stay in a game to give up 12 runs in my life, or even close to it.
Over how many innings was it? I lost interest in that game.
The line is 3.1 innings pitched, 12 hits, 12 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks.
Don't give up 12 hits in 3 innings.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have as visceral a response as you do, Grant Schwabini. I think it's you flush it and you move on, to be honest with you, and I don't lose too much sleep over it. If it hurt his
sleep over it.
I don't want you to lose sleep, Schwabi. We don't want that.
I woke up in cold sweats last night.
You woke up in cold sweats because Bruce Hopkins owns us.
I just saw Luzardo in my dreams throwing up a home run ball.
Yeah, I'm kind of with I'm with you, Grant Schwabini, on the frustrating side of it. I didn't watch that game, but I can guarantee you when the 4th inning came around, after another 3 or 4 runs, I would have been at the same place. Like, just get this guy out of here.
Yeah, and here's the other thing that I don't like about it. I also feel like there's another component of it that nobody's ever going to say to you. But when you get to the point where the guy's given up 6 runs and you're through 3 innings, and you still have him out there when you know he doesn't have his stuff, to me, it looks like you're now saying, okay, we're penciling this one in as a loss. Who gives a shit?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Play to win the game. Look, we've got bats in our lineup. We scored 7 runs.
Yeah.
Maybe if we took them out after 6, we win the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, to me, it's just ridiculous. I hate that whole scheduled loss kind of crap.
Yeah.
Oh, we're down a bunch of runs. Let's just throw in somebody who sucks, who never plays for us, and whatever, we're going to lose anyway.
Yeah.
I hate that mentality.
So let's give this guy some work.
Right.
Let's give him some work. It has nothing to do with the strategy or the outcome of the game. He needs a little work. We'll throw him in after we've I'm with you. I would be just as frustrated, but at the same time, what Rube says is true. In order for you to get a little bit of sleep, you just got to kind of flush this one and move on. Because it's over, Schwab.
Well,
it's over.
Okay.
Can't go back.
Now, listen, if I paid a lot of money to go see that game, I may feel differently.
Yeah.
I didn't. And
well, you know what? This was like, I don't get to see a lot of Phillies games because I don't have the MLB package, and this freaking game was on TV. That's what I got to watch.
Oh, so it's time. It's wasted time.
Yeah,
okay. That's even more valuable than wasting money.
I couldn't enjoy my what's the word I'm looking for? I couldn't enjoy my chips and dip, my salsa.
Well, I would say my salsa was still very good.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't enjoy it as much when Luzardo's given up 12 runs.
What is your salsa of choice these days, Grand Schwabini? Speaking of which,
I have a lot of salsas that I enjoy. I'm more of a pico de gallo guy.
Pico de gallo.
Pico de gallo.
Okay,
that's how they say it down here in Texas.
Okay, I'm not Mexican.
Yeah, obviously.
But
golly.
Actually, that's really bad where you are.
Yeah.
Actually, I really enjoy Trader Joe's Pico de Gallo.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's really good, isn't it? It's really good.
That, yeah.
So you like cilantro?
Yeah.
Oh, I love cilantro.
I hate it. I can't eat pico de gallo.
Cilantro is like a love-hate thing. You either love cilantro or you hate it.
Right.
I haven't heard anybody ever go like, it's got cilantro in it. Whatever. It's either like, oh, good, or no, I can't eat that.
Right.
Anyway, we digress.
Anyway, one other point on the Phillies. Did you happen to see the routine ground ball that Trey Turner booted to lose the game on Sunday?
Yeah, I did. That's not good.
I mean, geez, my God. I mean, that is like, that is, it's served up to you. It's a handmade double play ball. You're out of the inning. You're up 2-1. You go to the 8th. I mean, ridiculous. I mean, come on, man. $300 player, $300 million player. You can't field a routine ground ball.
So there you go. You just hit on all of them during page 1. 7, 8, 9, not good. Bullpen, we need 2 or 3 arms. Starting pitching hasn't been great. And oh, by the way, I would have to imagine, without looking at the stats, that our fielding is probably one of the worst in MLB.
I think it is.
I don't think it's time to panic, to your point, TD. But at some point, you got to fix those things, or there's no chance in hell of ever winning a playoff series, let alone the World Series.
Right. I agree.
And to finish off on that thought, what's so frustrating is with all that wrong, they're right at the top of the league.
Yeah.
Just fix a thing or two.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you should have a little faith. We're sitting here criticizing what is obviously criticizable. But
is that a word? Criticizable?
I don't know. I'm channeling my inner hockey Jesus and making.
I like it. I'm TD. I'm with you. Keep going.
Criticizable. It is now part of the lexicon.
It sounds like a lexicon.
Yeah, that seems to be the word of the month, lexicon. So anyway,
all right, enough of these Phillies.
What point was I making?
Making us crazy.
They're tinkering. They're gonna do something.
They're gonna tinker.
Yeah, I mean they're not the Pittsburgh Pirates. We know that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving on to page 2 here. We do have a comment that's come in. Great word. Thank you. Thank you, HJ. I love that. Page 2 on the Philadelphia Sports Porch. Well, it looks like Howie's done it again. He's traded Bryce Huff to the 49ers.
Is that official? Is that official? Is it done? It had to be after June 1st, right?
I don't think it actually went through today. It's not like a official, but I mean, it's obviously done. The Eagles reworked his contract, to be able to trade him to San Francisco. So yeah, a couple things on this. Number one, I mean, I don't know how you whiff on a draft pick. I don't know how you whiff on a free agent signing as badly as the Eagles did and actually get out of it.
Well, they still got to pay. They're still going to pay a bit.
They are still going to pay a bit, but I mean, seriously, it's like ridiculous. I mean, now look, it does make a little bit of sense for the 49ers. He's going back to Robert Saleh, who was his head coach, and now he's the defensive coordinator of the 49ers. He probably knows how to use him best. To be honest, I think he didn't fit here in Philadelphia because the Eagles did try to make him into something that he's not. He's just a situational pass rusher. And maybe if they had used him in that way, he would have had the kind of results that he got with the Jets, and maybe he'll get those kind of results with Robert Saleh. But I put my trust in Vic Fangio, and basically, if Vic Fangio says the guy can't play, to me, the guy can't play.
Yeah,
so the fact, I mean, to be honest, I can't even. Apparently, we're getting a mid-round pick for him. I mean, I didn't think you could get anything for him. I mean. So to me, it's just, and yeah. Do they still have to pay? Yes, I think it's something like the Eagles will pay him $9 million and the 49ers will pay him $7 million or something like that. But apparently, like, the Eagles get $15 million back in cap space. You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of insane.
How does that work? It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's kind of insane.
Howie can't be that much smarter than the rest of the league.
I you know what? I think it's not a matter of being smart. It's a matter of just understanding what your team needs and how you can manipulate the rules in a legal way to get what you need out of it. And listen, at this point right now, coming off a Super Bowl winning season and the moves they made last year, I would trust anything they do. Even though you could say, right, you signed Huff and he ended up being kind of a bust considering what you thought you were going to get out of him.
But look at all the good things they did in the same year.
Right.
You're not going to hit on 100% of them.
Never. Yeah. And if you did that, you'd always win Super Bowls.
And and I can't say this for 100% certain, but I'm reasonably guessing that when Howie put that contract together for Huff, he put it together with the mindset of, we're asking him to basically change positions. And if it doesn't work, I need to work a way out of it.
Yeah.
And that's probably why we're able to do it.
That's what his job is.
Right.
His job is not just to find the right players. His job is also to set it up so that there is an advantage for the team, or at least a positive that you can pull out of this if you have to, run away from the deal. You're going to give up something. But how can we get out of this deal and not lose our shirts on it if it looks bad? And that's what he's good at. He's good at the other side of it. Everybody wants their GM to be great at identifying the players, signing the contracts and all that. But you got to remember there's a backside to that. And that is the holy shit time where this did not work out. Yeah. And now we're being held hostage. So and you gotta be good at that.
And by the way, have either of you caught kind of like the news where Goodell wants the league to look into the various manipulations of the salary cap, because it's, and the bottom line is it's sort of like another thing, another slight against the Eagles. Like, okay, so the Eagles are smart enough to figure out how to manipulate the cap. What do we have to do? Do we have to teach the rest of the league how to do it?
Or do we got to change the rules?
Or do we got to change the rules so that we can't? Apparently, what a lot of it has to do with is that Jeffrey Lurie puts a lot of money in up front. okay,
Yeah.
into these
They
contracts.
front load the contract.
They front load the contracts, right?
That's well known.
So, so what is it? So like what if other owners don't want to do that, then we need to change the rules?
Well, here let's take a sidebar here. It's not
sidebar.
It's not uncommon.
I object.
It's not uncommon for the you're going to object, but not really.
Be careful, counselor.
It's not uncommon for them to do this in the NFL. Back in the 80s, Joe Gibbs was famous for using the injured list to get around, to being able to manipulate when he could bring players in. He would pop them on the injured list for a certain amount of time, bring them back. He was a master at that, and he did it all within the rules. But they literally changed the rules because he was so good at manipulating that injured list. What did they used to call it? Oh God, what did they call it when a player got injured? Not injured reserve. Yeah, they called it injured reserve. Now it's called the injured list,
right?
Whatever. And then they have the pup list, and all of that shit came about because of Joe Gibbs and Bobby Beathard learning how to manipulate that to their advantage when they needed a certain player at a certain time.
Right.
So it's going to happen. I mean, playing football's a business. It's not just the X's and O's, man. It's learning how to manipulate all the rules the best you can to win. And he's good at it. He's great at it.
What were you going to say, Rib?
I was going to say, listen, I would rather be sitting here talking and defending our team from doing all these great things and being so successful than having to listen about our team if I'm sitting in another team's uniform, right?
Yeah,
it was for 20 years. It was the Patriots have to be cheating. What are they doing? Deflategate, spying, blah blah blah.
Turns out they were doing.
They were doing all that though.
But
however, they won 6 Super Bowls or however many Super Bowls they won.
If you think other teams weren't doing it, then you're crazy. Other teams were doing it. They just weren't. They didn't have the scrutiny. Steve says, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Steelers used roids in the 70s before they became commonplace. Now I don't know how he knows that for sure. But there's been all kinds of rumors about that. So it's only natural when a team is winning like crazy or looks to, first you had the tush push example, then now you've got this, they're manipulating the salary cap and all that. Well, I mean, of course they are. There's loopholes in everything. So maybe they close some loopholes.
Maybe they don't.
But until then, I'm sticking by my prediction. They're winning the Super Bowl again this year. You can hear me say that a million times.
Wow.
I was right.
I don't think I've heard you say that yet. Do you think back to back?
And we'll get to that in the NFL predictions section of our show, which will be a few months from now. But I predicted it last year. My Super Bowl winner was the Eagles when we predicted it on the pre-season shows. At the end of this year, I said, I'm going all in. I think they're going to repeat.
So you're going dynasty. That would be 3 in 8 years.
I don't know if that qualifies as a dynasty anymore, only because
you got to win like 3 within 4 or 5.
Well, only because of what the Patriots did do. I mean, that was a dynasty. I mean, I don't know. That's a debate we can have another time.
Another time.
Yeah, but
I'll allow it, counselor. But be careful.
There you go.
Would you guys please approach the bench?
Blom, blom, blom.
That's what I'm doing. I'm doing Law and Order.
In New York City's war on crime. Police who investigate crimes and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories. Womp womp.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, thank you very much.
That was. Hey, man, voiceover work is your future, TD.
It's in my future. I know. I've been waiting for somebody to call me, and nobody has. Maybe it's because
you're just like the Law and Order voice.
Yes, right. I was saying that we were in New York City this past weekend for my stepson. He got married, and
you got invited.
Yeah, I did. I got invited. Well, actually, I had to go because my wife went, so I just tagged along. But
you had to go.
At some point, I started saying the beginning of Law and Order, and like for the rest of the weekend, we would get into a Lyft or an Uber, and I'd just get into the Lyft and say and just say that. And by the end of the weekend, she was like, "If you ever say anything like
what show is this? This is my impression."
Okay.
Now, most people, when they walk into their house and they see a dead body there, They call 911.
This is Josh Mankiewicz on Dateline.
But you didn't do that, did you?
Yeah, this is Josh Mankiewicz on Dateline. Right?
Right,
Am I right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But you didn't do that, did you?
Now, most people,
Right.
they would call 911, but you didn't do that, did you?
So who
right.
watches? Who watches Dateline?
Listen, if you're, I watch Dateline every night. My wife's got it on perpetual record. Anyway, if you're enjoying this, this is the Philadelphia Sports Porch. In case you hadn't figured that out, live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and X. All over the world, every Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Going to drop the podcast right after the show. Follow us on YouTube at Philadelphia Sports Porch or on X at Philly Porch. Drop a comment. Let us know what you're thinking. We love it. We love the interaction here. That's what we're all about. We're going to move on to page 3 now. Page 3. This is a little Flyers news. The Flyers have re-signed Foerster. Should make Flyers fans happy. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if people don't realize it yet, I think they will soon, that Tyson Foerster is a potential star in this league. I think he was held back a little bit from Torts. He needs to kind of play more open and free, which he did in the last 10 games of the year, and he kind of went off. Head coach Rick Tocchet says that's what he wants him to do. So this, he was making about $700,000 a year. This is like his bridge contract. So before he gets a big deal, they've upped it. So I think he's getting like $3.75 million for 2 years, until he is ready for the big extension. So I think it was a good thing, kind of keep one of your young guns, happy and, keeping them in the fold. Rube?
Yeah, it's build time. It's the time for shedding all of the bad contracts and the older players and whatever is just about over, and now it's time to build. And I think we're seeing that. So I'm excited. I think Foerster certainly is a good young player and someone to help build around with Michkov and Konechny and a couple of the other good defenders. So I like it.
All right. Now that can just sort of bring us right into, it's now NHL and NBA finals time.
Right.
And one thing I will say is ridiculous is that if these finals go 7 games, it'll be like 2 weeks. It's so ridiculous. I mean, it's like they play a game and then they wait 3 days.
Well, I mean, when it comes to hockey, yeah. I think that's
reasonable with hockey.
I don't think that's unreasonable. But basketball, I mean,
stop whining. You're on skate.
I'm not whining.
Grant Schwabini's got an edge. He's got an edge to him tonight.
Take a couple strides and glide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that easy. Yeah, I'm sure. Let's see you take a couple strides and glide right out to the parking lot.
Well, let's take a look. Let's go
a few shots on the way.
Let's go NHL first, since we're talking about Foerster. So obviously we got a rematch of last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we've got the Edmonton Oilers. You've got your Connor McDavid, one of the best players ever, but you kind of need a cup to really say that.
Yep.
You got Draisaitl, great hockey name. He's almost just as good. They have a little bit of a questioning goal with Skinner having to take the load there, although he's done well enough for them to get to the finals. And then over there, you got the defending champs, the Florida Panthers. They've got the edge in goal with Bobrovsky, former Flyer. Look, the bottom line is, you know what I find interesting about this series? All the pressure is on Edmonton because it's all on Connor McDavid. Can he get his cup? It's all on, can Canada finally win a cup again? And what's kind of sad is that there's no pressure in Florida. Who even cares about the Florida Panthers? Does anybody care about the Florida Panthers?
I think the fans that show up at the arena do.
Do you think they would show up if they were just an average team?
Probably not.
Nobody cares.
Well, Florida's a very transient state. That's why.
Nobody cares. I'm so sick of these warm weather hockey teams.
Yeah.
Getting so good. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what the hell? We're watching Edmonton against the Florida Panthers. Now, granted, I love hockey, and there's nothing better than Stanley Cup playoff hockey. I'm sure I'll watch some games, and I'm sure it'll be entertaining, and hopefully the series will go long, and I'll enjoy it. But just as like just as a starter, I mean, like Edmonton versus Florida. That's really Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
It's international. It's an international game, man. It's an international game. Listen, if Florida wins this year, what is it? 4 of 6 for the state of Florida, because you had Tampa Bay go back to back too, and they're both really good teams.
So what's going on? Are all the players going there because there's no taxes?
No, there's taxes in Florida, but they probably do like the good weather.
They like Miami,
and
for
there's no pressure. Nobody cares if the hockey team loses.
Well, yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily go that far because I'm going out on a limb here, but most of those players probably aren't from Florida. So,
well, they have pressure to perform for their family and stuff.
Well, and also for their career. I mean,
for their contract. I don't know.
You can't fault an organization for putting whether you like it or not. The franchise itself is an NHL organization, and they're running it really, really well.
They are.
So,
but let me put it to you this way. So, the top free agent out there is Mitch Marner. Okay. Guy scores over 100 points for Toronto. They're probably going to blow it up. He's probably not going to be back in Toronto. That's a guy that the Flyers could go all in for, as will some other teams. Okay. If you're Mitch Marner, okay, you have a choice between going to the Philadelphia Flyers or the Florida Panthers. Now, forget about the records.
Oh, that's a big caveat.
Well, no. You have to forget about the records. Let's just say they're both a middle of the league team. Okay. You go to Philadelphia, there's pressure. You're going to be asked after every single game, why you're not scoring, why you're not putting up the same points you put up in Toronto. You go to Florida, there's no pressure. Nobody cares.
Yeah, but you know what? That's actually I think a poor example, because I think Philly is one of the most brutal sports towns to play in, whether you're winning or losing.
As it should be.
Well, I'm not saying good or bad.
I'm just saying
it's brutal.
Yeah, I'm just saying Florida's a place where, people
use this example.
People don't care. They'll go out on their boat.
You can go to the Pittsburgh Penguins, who have not been very, very good the last 3-4 years, but have obviously a dynamic history over the last 35 years, or you can go to the Florida Panthers.
Well, to be honest, I would say the same thing.
I'm not saying you would say anything different, but I just think that's a better example, because yes, the press here will ask you those questions.
Yeah, it's not
they're
as
not going
tough.
to ask them the way they're going to.
It's not as tough as Philadelphia.
Right. Rube, what do you think? Chime in here.
Wow.
Wake up, Rube.
On that question, or just in general about the Stanley Cup?
You can on that particular question.
Rube, speak your mind.
Since his honor, the Grand Schwab
freelance it, Rube. Freelance it.
Yeah.
I'd go to the better organization, regardless. Period. And in this instance, Florida's better organization with more upside and a better place to live. And yeah, maybe it is a little less pressure, but I think these guys are professionals, and they're gonna give their all and give their best no matter where they're playing.
Yeah, I think a cup is a cup. They're an NHL. It's part of the NHL. They're playing against guys they played against all over the league and all over minor league hockey, and maybe in college and maybe in another country. I mean, just because it's under the banner of the Florida Panthers doesn't mean that it means any less.
Well, no, see, that's not exactly what I'm saying.
You're just saying, would you rather go where there's less? You're trying to say that Florida fans don't give a rip about hockey.
They don't. Like if the hockey team is average, They're going out on their boat. They're
Yeah.
fishing.
Okay, so
They're playing golf.
really what you're saying is it pisses you off.
It does.
That right. See, we're getting to the root of it now, Root.
Yeah.
It pisses you off that a warm weather, beautiful area where you can just relax in the sunshine in the off time and head down to Miami for a great night clubbing is able to use that to attract the best talent in hockey and win a Stanley Cup. And now
they don't deserve it.
And they don't deserve it. Yeah, that's exactly where I was going. I knew that's what you were doing.
So if they win this year, which I
you're
think
just saying it's not fair. Yeah. Go ahead.
If they win this year, which I think they will, how many cups will this be for them? Will this be their third or just their second?
Second.
Yeah, it's their second. They lost the first time they were in the finals.
Okay.
I think the Oilers are going to win it though this year.
So do I.
I disagree. So I'm picking the Panthers in 6. I'd love to see Edmonton win, but I think the Panthers have a better defense. I think they got a better goalie. I think they're playing tremendous hockey at the right time of the year. They're stingy on D. And, I think Edmonton lost one of their better players. Hyman is out for the entire series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So all that being said, give me the Panthers in 6. And then we're gonna talk about, hey, they have as many cups as the Flyers do.
And
what team are you going to?
And you like the rat effect when they throw the rats on the
rats. I like the rats. It shows they care.
Yeah,
it shows they care, Mark.
Yeah, it shows they care. That's right.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to the NBA Finals here. This is a barn burner. The Oklahoma City Thunder.
Here's what I got to say about the NBA Finals. All right. Now, earlier this year or past year, remember I said the Boston Celtics were the worst team to ever win a championship. Okay. And I think I've been proven 100% correct. Now, true, Jason Tatum got hurt midway through the season through the series that they lost. But the bottom line is, as I've been saying, last year, this year, I mean, the teams just aren't that good. They're just not. I mean, look, Oklahoma City, hey, they play a great team game. I don't know how they won 68 games, but they did. They got one great player, SGA. I mean, they got Holmgren's decent. Williams is pretty good. I mean, you got Caruso off the bench. Okay. Look at the Pacers. They got one great player, Tyrese Halliburton, and they got like 6 guys that are like pretty darn good.
Pascal Siakam with a goodness uniform.
Yeah, Pascal Siakam is pretty good. I mean, look, they're in the NBA Finals. They're good teams. But this is nothing like Steph Curry and his, Warriors teams, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and those Bulls teams. I mean, this is the level of basketball that we're watching now. It's not even close. Like, I got to be honest with you. I mean, I swear to God, and I'm sure you'll tell me that I'm wrong. Okay,
you can raise your right hand.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the Sixers team, okay, that had Jimmy Butler on it, okay, with Embiid playing his MVP season, Jimmy Butler, who else was on that team? Ben Simmons was still good on that team, right?
Well, until he wasn't.
I mean, to be honest, that team's better than these two teams. I swear to God, they're better than these two teams. I mean, like, on one hand, I think it's a positive because I do actually feel like, boy, if you get a bunch of things right, anybody can win the NBA next year. I mean, anybody can.
Right.
No, look, I did get thorough enjoyment out of watching the Pacers beat the Knicks. The Knicks, and remember, you were concerned about the Knicks, and I said that I wasn't because the big cat, he only shows up for a game or two.
Eastern Conference Finals is nothing to sneeze at, Schwabini. When's the last time the Sixers were there?
What does he win?
With Joel Embiid. When's the last time the Sixers were there with anything in the
I'm not
past
talking
20
about
years?
Sixers right now. I'm talking about the Knicks who suck.
Villanova North, baby.
So yeah, well, you know what? To be honest, though, you know what the Knicks there you go, baby. You know what the Knicks' big mistake was?
Getting rid of Hartenstein.
No, the Bridges. They have Mikal Bridges, right?
They do.
Yeah. You know, when Bridges was playing with Charlotte and he was the only guy and he was just killing it. I thought, and I think a lot of the NBA thought, like, this dude could be the next dude. This dude could be the superstar. And unfortunately, he's just another guy. I mean, he's a good player, but he's just another guy. He's just another Obi-Genobi. You know what I mean? If that's how you say his name.
Was he in Star Wars?
No.
Obi-Genobi?
I like Obi-Genobi, okay, but you know, he's just another guy. So I think they really kind of misfired on that. They gave up a lot for him.
Luke, I am father.
I was actually really surprised. Even though Brunson is unbelievable and I'd love to have him on the Sixers, I was really surprised that, wow, like if you play some really strong defense against him, he's not that great. I mean, he's too small, you know? So it really was wonderful to see the Knicks kind of fall apart. And the only reason why I really say that is because, and this is the reason why, I haven't even thought about the Knicks in years because they really haven't been much competition. But now it's on the other foot, you know, they're better than the Sixers. But my God, those Knicks fans, I mean, look, they're ridiculous. I mean, they go out and they party in the street like they won the Super Bowl when they win a first round playoff game. I mean, it's ridiculous. Now, I mean, I have something that I believe in strongly. Okay. The celebrations in the streets. Okay. You can only do that if you advance in the semifinals. So you're in the final four. Okay. And you advance, you win, and now you're in the finals. And then, of course, the finals, the championship game, you win, you're champions. That's it. That's it. You can do some celebrating in the locker room. That's fine. But, you know, the fans going out in the streets when you win a first round playoff game, it's just ridiculous. I think it's an embarrassment to the city of New York. And I am absolutely thrilled to not have to watch that, and for them all to feel, all those New York Knicks fans to feel foolish because you were celebrating nothing.
There you go.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Congratulations, Knicks.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what you're saying is, go ahead, Rick.
That was a rant for me, huh?
It was good.
Yeah.
I'm in awe. I think it's been a rantful night for you.
It has been. I'm on edge tonight.
I like the Grand Schwabini edge.
Well,
listen, here's my point of view. I think you know it well, and all our viewers know it well. Give me hockey playoffs any day over the NBA anytime. I kind of am interested to watch OKC play Indiana. I don't know much about them. I haven't watched any of them play more than a few minutes. But SGA is worth the price of admission. I watched him just dominate in a 2 or 3 minute, just easily dominate. So I think it'll be fun to actually see someone other than Steph Curry or LeBron James or someone else in the finals. I think it'll be quite interesting, and I think it'll be competitive. I think Oklahoma City will ultimately win. And you talk about a team that's set up for success in the future. They've got like a gazillion first round picks. They're not paying anybody yet except SGA. So I think they're going to be a good team for years to come. So I'll watch one of these games.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I'm a big Tyrese Halliburton fan. The guy shoots a very strange ball. I mean, like, the way he shoots is like ridiculous. I mean, like, if you took your kid to a shooting coach, they would say, no, you need to start over completely. He just kind of like throws it way in the air and they go in a lot of the time. So he's just fun, he's kind of got that Reggie Miller mentality when he did the choke, against the Knicks. That was fun. And the other thing too that to bring it back to the Sixers, which is really sad, is that apparently I don't know if this is fact or not, but I think that there was a deal on the table for Halliburton for Ben Simmons when they got Harden instead. And that's disappointing. Another wrong move by the Sixers.
Another wrong move.
There you go.
Yep.
All right, let's move on. Page 5 tonight. What we're watching. You want to take it away, Grant Schwabini, or you want me to give it a stab?
I think I've talked a lot tonight. Why don't you give it a
quite frankly, on behalf of all of us, I'm going to ask you to do it, technical director, and let the Grant Schwabini have a timeout.
Okay.
Give it your best shot.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor. This is the part of the show where we give back to you. And why do we do that? Well, we do that because you've given to us. You've given us your time, your energy, your comments, your follows, and everything. By the way, follow us at Sports Porch Philadelphia, at Philadelphia Sports Porch or whatever. I just butchered that. Anyway, what do we do? Well, there's a million services out there, and you've got your Hulus, you've got your HBO Max, you've got your Prime, you've got your Netflix, and I mean, how much time do you waste trying to find something good to watch? How much time do you waste?
A lot.
When you find something and you watch 20 minutes of it and you realize I can't get that time back.
That's a no-go.
What we do is we watch it all. And I actually feel like we do watch it all.
Mm-hmm.
And we decide what's good and what's bad. And we give you your time back. We direct you right to the shows that you should watch and keep you away from the stuff that you should not watch. That's how we give it back. How about that?
It's not bad. I mean, but your heart was in it.
Yeah, I know.
The delivery needed a little work.
I had to kind of jump in there because I was afraid you were going to like swipe the table free of the computers and goddamn the Sixers and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, what we're watching this week, the Grant Schwabini has one and the your technical director has one. We'll do the Grant Schwabinis first. Grant Schwabini, you are watching
on HBO Max, the 100-Foot Wave. Have you ever watched this, fellas?
I have not.
Never heard of it.
I have not.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it was just watch the completion of the 3rd season. What's
it about? What's the premise of the show?
Well, the premise of the show is that guy you're seeing right there. His name is Garrett, and he's a world-renowned, famous surfer, and he was essentially on the pursuit to find a 100-foot wave to ride, and that's like his mission in life. Okay.
And there's been 3 seasons. There's been 3 seasons of this.
So he obviously hasn't found one yet, has he?
Well, no, he's got like the world record.
But is it 100?
I can't remember, to be honest. I don't think so, though.
Okay.
Keep going.
But so what he found was this place in Portugal called Nazaré, and it's really beautiful. I mean, it's set on a cliff, and there's just these enormous waves that come in, and of course, the other part of this is, Garrett sort of created this obsession with big wave surfing. And it's obviously very dangerous.
Yeah.
Right. People die. And in these shows, there are people who have died while they're filming and stuff.
Wow.
And it's really incredible. Now, the crazy thing about it is, while it's like a really wild thing, I find it incredibly relaxing. I mean, because you're basically you're looking at Hawaii, you're looking at Nazaré, you're seeing all these things that like you never even knew existed.
Right.
Like there's a place in like the middle of the ocean that they've got these huge waves that just break in the middle of the ocean, and they're just
is it like watching one of those shows where they climb Everest? And
yeah, it's kind of like that.
Okay. I find those very relaxing too.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, and you get to know about like the relationships of the people. It's like, for example, like Garrett, was kind of like the the guy who's been there a lot, right? And what's going on with him is he's kind of like, in a way, like sort of training some of the guys who are sort of up and coming, and then you deal with, and then, like this season's been a little bit more about, he feels like he's kind of getting phased out by kind of like the old crew. People felt like they blamed him for the death of a guy,
Oh, no.
that kind of a thing. And then of course his wife, he's got some concussions, and his wife is like, how much longer are you going to do this? Don't you care about your children?
Oh, guilt.
Stuff like that. And then you've got like, people that are really great, but, and the way they take you out there on these big waves is you get taken out on a jet ski. And so the jet skis are the drivers, right? And then it's like, I can't be number one if I don't have a good driver, and you're thinking about switching drivers. The bottom line is it's very interesting. I think it's very peaceful. It's very much like an Everest kind of thing. And unbelievable scenery.
Right.
It's awesome.
Right.
I really like it.
Cool. The 100-Foot Wave, season 3 on Max. The Grand Schwabini's what we're watching. I have been watching. Actually, I watched this a few weeks back. Cold Case, the Tylenol murders.
Was this like in the 80s?
Yeah.
When all that was happening?
Yes.
Let me take a stab at this.
Yeah, go for it.
I have a feeling that there's going to be some people that are going to take Tylenol, too much of it, or maybe not too much of it. Maybe Tylenol laced with cyanide. Is that ringing a bell?
How'd you guess?
Might have heard a thing or two about it.
Either that or you're the guy, because they haven't found the guy yet.
Oh, haven't found the guy. All right.
Oh, boy.
How did you know?
Well, tell me about all that you uncovered. and not ruin it for people.
Okay, so for those of you who don't remember, in 1982, some unsuspecting people took extra strength Tylenol, ended up being laced with cyanide, and they died.
That's extra strength.
And yeah, that's so this,
get him off the coffee, would you?
Honestly, seriously, I don't know what's in that bottle of Snapple he's drinking there, but it says 0 sugar, so I'm not sure.
I don't know. Something might be off. Cyanide.
I'm gonna make this short and sweet. Yeah. You guys remember the Tylenol murders, 1982. We were young.
We were 12.
12,
we were
right.
12, yeah.
So do you remember, we don't have to go into details if you do remember it, but do you remember any of the aftermath of that, like the investigation and all that kind of stuff? Because I remember nothing.
I don't remember much of it.
I remember my mother looking at my candy from Halloween to make sure there weren't razor blades in them. Is that connected?
Does that have anything to do with Tylenol? Yeah.
My parents never did that. Dang.
I'm shutting him down. So that's what was compelling for me, was because the Grand Schwabini gets on me. I'm a documentary guy. I love documentaries. Absolutely love them. So what was compelling to me is, here's something that I know, but I do not know what the outcome was because I was so young. I didn't even follow it. I just remember my mom basically like swiping all the Tylenol off the shelves and being like, we can't have this anymore for a while. And then magically one day, then we could.
It's interesting though, but one of the outcomes of that was like the stuff that they put on the bottles now to make
triple
them
seal.
Yeah.
Triple seal. So basically, this is a really easy watch, Rube. It's 3 episodes that are both all 3, under 40 minutes. So the bottom line is this:
they never caught the person.
They had it narrowed down to a dude. And they could never really pin it on him. I don't want to give anything away in this because it's actually compelling and frightening at the same time. So if you have any interest in this, because it's kind of, I have heard in my life, I have heard nothing about the Tylenol murders until this popped up on Netflix. And I thought, oh my God, I don't know what happened. It's worth it, Rube. I'm telling you. If you like these kinds of things, it's worth it, and it's a quick watch. It's one afternoon. You don't even have to blow away the whole afternoon. Like 2+ hours, and you get through all 3 episodes. Okay. So if you like stuff like that, I highly recommend
stuff.
The Tylenol murders.
And before we go, quick breaking news: the Bryce Huff trade is official.
There you go.
He's gone.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
quick
Adios.
breaking news.
See you later.
Thank God for that. Yep. I don't even know how to really take this out this week because took over the whole show. But this has been the Sports Porch Philadelphia. Yes, you've been watching it live all over the world on Facebook, on YouTube, on X. Follow us on YouTube at Philadelphia Sports Porch and on X at Philly Porch. And guys, we have a new Philadelphia Sports Porch Facebook page. Hop on over there on X at Philly Porch. The Grant Schwabini's supposed to be updating this stuff. I haven't been watching it, so you got to start updating it. Put polls out there. See what people think.
I do have a job.
Throw yourself out there. I do have a job. That's right. I forgot. I don't. For the Grant Schwabini, for Ruben, Texas, I'm your TD. We'll see you next week, maybe.
Thank you, everybody.
I'm out.